Today on Ask the Oracle, we've got a really beautiful subject, Golden Keys to Healing, Wisdom, Poetry, and Sacred Ecology with Vanessa Tait. In this enchanting episode, we welcome the multifaceted healer, poet, and author, Vanessa Tait. With deep roots in psychology, counselling, and holistic wellness, Vanessa's journey has been one of profound transformation, guided by nature, sacred ecology, and Indigenous wisdom. Her work bridges spirituality, healing, and creativity, offering a luminous path for those seeking empowerment and true connection. Join us as we dive into her inspiring journey, explore the mystical world of her oracle deck, Golden Keys of Gaia, and uncover the poetic wisdom that flows through her stunning work. Hi, Vanessa. How are you, my love?
Hello, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. And yeah, I'm so honored to be here, so thank you.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to have you here. I absolutely love your Oracle deck and everything I see on socials. So I know that we have a lot in common, and I know our listeners are going to get so much out of this beautiful podcast today. So let's dive deep. What first sparked your journey into healing and transformation?
Mm. Oh, this is a big one. I would say, as a kid, as a young girl, I've always been a big one of questions, always asking why, asking deep, being really curious. Um, I guess from a young age, I was kind of asking deep questions and kind of philosophical questions at a young age. And, I didn't really understand why we were just everyone was talking about, clothes or material things. And I was like looking at flowers, like, this is the most insane thing, kind of having really far out thoughts, questions, kind of in my own thinking, why aren't we talking more about this? Like, this is all so spectacular, but I kind of didn't really add up why no one was really talking about it, or how, I was kind of didn't really connect with how we were told life was, like it was all kind of an accident, the Big Bang, brilliant. There's all these brilliant theories, but I was very much really deep in that thinking of this is all so spectacular though. So I was very someone of asking questions. And then as I got older, I live in a small town in the UK, and um yeah, I still just very much curious. I didn't understand spirituality. I didn't connect with any religions. So I was very much, I never really knew about spirituality or anything like that. And then I was very active as a child. So I loved sports, love everything like that. And then my path brought me kind of accidentally to yoga. And I found yoga. Actually, my friend was like, come to a yoga class. I was like, well, I love sport. Sounds like fun. I love fitness, all that kind of thing. So I was like, brilliant. It kind of came in with that mindset of, stretching. Be cool to be flexible because I'm not flexible at that time. So I went to my yoga class and I was, oh, that was really fun. And it was the first time I think in my life that it's at the end of practice we have Shavasana. And, where you just completely let go. And that was so new to me at the time of just completely letting go. I learned about, this. And from then I kept going to all my class. Like, I was like, I love this. I want to go more. And as I got more into the practice, I learned more about mind, body, spirit connection. I learned about, spirit. I learned about meditation, and I found my teacher. And as it deepened, I guess, because I teach as well, and it's such a big part of my journey that because at the time it was very fitness, and then I think in the background, it was all the philosophy of yoga kind of working internally that I didn't really know. I
Yes,
was still in that
yes.
mindset of, and then I remember one key moment for me, and I'd been doing yoga for a while, quite a while at this time, and a class. I remember at the end, I literally felt like my heart cracked open, like I could feel it, and I just burst into tears. And at that time, I mean, as a teacher, I'm like, that's the doorway, that's the portal, like, let's go.
Yes.
At
Yeah.
the time, I was like, why am I crying? I feel really embarrassed. Like, what is happening? And this was at the end in Shavasana. And that was the kind of moment for me I could remember. It was kind of like yoga was my doorway in. And I felt like that was the moment where I really just cracked open. And then from then, I just kind of went down, there's so much more to unpack there, but that was kind of the first moment for me where then I started going, understanding a bit about meditation. And that was the kind of the first doorway in, I would say.
Beautiful. I love
Yeah.
that. I love yoga. I go to yoga a few times a week. I'm not a teacher, but I do love yin yoga is my practice. I love
Oh,
yin
I love
yoga.
it. Yeah.
And I just love that kind of awakening moment for you was through the doorway of yoga. And how good is Savasana at the end of yoga? I love that deep meditation practice.
Yeah. It's so
So beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. And the
Yeah, and so
philosophies.
crucial. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like in yoga, there's it's the concept of 8 limbs of yoga, and
Yes.
um the asana, the movement, is actually one of the smallest parts of yoga. It's one of the 8 tree, if you would say, is branches. So the rest is all philosophy. So actually, the movement is literally the most. So the rest is all. So that was all kind of working on me internally that I didn't really know about.
Yes.
And
Yes.
suddenly, then you realize that yoga is just a mirror, the inside, the outside, as above, so below. And then that kind of just, yeah, broke me open, I guess, from the inside out, if that makes sense.
I understand that so much. My beautiful yoga teacher that I actually interviewed on the podcast last week, and she's coming on shortly, which is really exciting. Um, she explained that, and one of the reasons I go to her classes is because she is spiritual and she does bring in all of those beautiful
Mm,
concepts as well. And
mm,
I just absolutely love it. So,
mm.
looking back on your healing journey, my love, what experience stands out as the most transformative in shaping your work today, do you think?
That's definitely, yeah. So when I was 19, I went was my first time went travel solo, and I felt I don't know why, but when I was really young, I always felt like I wanted to go to Hawaii. There was something in me. I didn't know why, because it just looks beautiful. And I went there for 3 months, yeah, on my own when I was 19, and I did work trade there. And when I was there, now I know why I was called to go there.
Yes.
While I was there, it was the first time I think in my life that I had firsthand seen, um, the Polynesian and how they live and so connected to the earth, and seeing that firsthand and I was like, wow, what is this? And just seeing a whole different dimension of connecting to the earth. Um, but then from that, so that was a whole journey in itself. And then I went back so that was in 2000 and no, sorry, when was that? That was when I was 19. Then I went back in 2000. So that must be in 2014. I went back in 2019. And that was a whole deeper layer because I'd just gone up for a breakup and I was going through kind of an existential crisis at the time. I was still, that was kind of after then, that was like my doorway in. So after the second time I went, that was when I got even deeper,
That
like
beautiful
really,
deepening. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, really connecting with the earth. And it was the first time that, yeah, so it was like with my friends, like before dinner, we would like, you know, we would sit there and we would pray, we would thank the abundance. And this was the first time in my life I'd never um experienced that from my hometown. And also because I've been starting to get into a bit of yoga at home, I hadn't had any like spiritual community, I hadn't had any spiritual friends. All my friends just weren't into that kind of thing. And everyone was so not into that. And I just felt so outcasted. I had all these far out thoughts, looking at plants like, why aren't we talking about this? And kind of
Yes.
really disconnected. And then I
Yes.
went to Hawaii and I suddenly found community. I was like, I'm not the only one. Like everyone was, in the spiritual community. It's like, oh, I'm not alone. Then I started to learn more about spirituality, and So I did before in that gap from the first time in Hawaii to then, I kind of found friends in books. Like I would read philosophy, I would read spirituality, but I don't have friends like that, but I found community in books. Then I went the second time, I found my community. I was like, wow, I'm not the only one with these far out thoughts. Um, and then I think that's what shaped my work and really finding that beautiful connection with nature, getting to like indigenous cultures and how they lived, like the whole island there was pristine, no rubbish, and how they treated the animals, the nature, and the reciprocity as well. They would give thanks, like we gave thanks before dinner. And it wasn't, it's nice to say, thanks to who made the dinner, but it wasn't just that. It was thank to the spirit of the plant, thank you to the farmer.
Yes,
For you've
yes.
given, like, even if it was just say there was carrots in the meal or vegetables, they gave the fruit, the vegetables gave their whole life to feed me this meal. So it's like, thank you for, it's everything. And it just opened my heart and burst me right open. And then that's definitely brought me to, yeah, deepening
Oh,
into.
Vanessa, that is so beautiful. I was that child that spoke to the stars and the moon
Mm.
and, the flowers and the plants and the animals. I still do that
Fairies.
to this day. The fairies, I totally get it. Yeah, and I'm with you. It's like, why aren't we talking about this stuff? That is so super
Mm,
cool, honey. I had a very similar experience in the Sacred Mountains up in Ubud in Bali.
mm,
I used to run retreats there for many years. I used to take a beautiful bunch of women up there, and I had a very, very similar experience. And each time I went back, there was definitely a deepening. There was
mm.
definitely an expansion,
Another doorway
more
locked.
heart opening. And the Balinese are very, very similar to the beautiful Polynesians. They are so connected to the earth. They do this kind of personal devotion throughout the day where they just have their own little altars and they do this beautiful kind of full body prayer throughout the day. It's just the most amazing place. And I thought, oh my goodness, like I'm with you. It's like, can I just stay here? Can I just get lost in
Yeah.
this culture, please? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, totally get that. The Golden Keys of Gaia is rooted in sacred ecology. How do you define sacred ecology and what role does it play in your creative and healing practices? Big
Mm.
question.
Yes. Well, yeah, sacred ecology has shaped everything for me. It's kind of made me understand myself, the world, and my work. So to me, it's really bringing it back to kind of our ancestors and that indigenous way of connecting with the earth. And again, it's not just seeing it as a commodity, something to take without spirit, without it's all about reciprocity and respect. And, in today's world, especially, in the West, it's just, we see it as outside of us. We see, we're inside our houses. Do you want to go outside? Like we're separate. Like,
Yes.
it's something that we move through. Like we go through the park to get to the other building. It's something that we just move through. It's, a nice scenic place. We pop there for a picnic, but it's separate, we go outside. It's outside of us. But with sacred ecology, to me, it's about interconnectedness and like how we aren't separate from it and seeing ourselves. And that's like with my deck, it's seeing ourselves as a mirror of nature, and she mirrors us how we can heal ourselves through her just being herself. We can see, wow, how she is, we can learn teachings how to heal ourselves. And that's all that about the deck is through her, how she mirrors our own healing. Um, and yeah, and just seeing that we aren't separate. Our bodies show us that we aren't. Our veins show us the rivers. The placenta shows us the tree of life. Our fingertips show us tree stumps, and um, yeah, our lungs show us the branches of trees and how they breathe air. So it's just everything is a mirror, and these. I really like to sit in deep contemplation, and a lot of my working with poetry, I just find I live for metaphor. I just live in metaphor, and I really was seeing that.
I do too.
So I just see the world as a metaphor, and when we can take that and really see parts of nature, and you know, ourselves in it and how we can heal. Yeah, there's just so much, and my deck really, yeah, is really what is my thoughts and my learnings, and is kind of packaged into that, if that's, yeah, if that's the way
And
to
that
put
is
it.
so obvious. It's so obvious that you have that understanding that we're not separate to our beautiful Earth Mother,
Mhm.
that we are a part of this miraculous ecosystem. We're not
Mhm.
separate to it. I love the way you explained that, it's all a mirror. Our fingerprints, are the tree trunks,
Mhm.
our lungs. Oh, just such a beautiful way to describe that, and such a beautiful way to see the world as well. And I find it really fascinating when people go, "Oh, I went out in nature today," or,
Yeah, in
or
like,
like
yeah.
it's like, "Hello, you are." I know, like, I even to this day, like, I just sort of sit there and I go, like, I'm in awe of the trees, just everything. So yes, I know,
It
I totally
melts
get it.
and mends my heart all in one. It's melting me, it's mending me, and I cry at the flowers, and I'm like, oh, there's no one else that's looking at this flower and just wanting to cry, or
And then that kind of, like nature, that continually regenerates and grows, and, that beautiful rebirthing, that
Mm,
regrowth. And I love that, the Golden Keys of Gaia, reflect that as well. That, like nature, we have this ability to just, just
to heal
heal and
ourselves.
transform, and, love that. So good. So, what
Mhm.
inspired you to create your Oracle deck? I think I know the answer already. And
Yeah.
how did this kind of process of bringing it to life influence your own growth, do you think?
Mm. Yeah, so I'd say because so when I came back from Hawaii the second time, that was in 2019. I started this project in 2020, so actually in lockdown. So I would say what brought me up to it was when I got back, I was really integrating everything that I, the comparison of being in Hawaii and everything that I picked up there to being back home. I was really integrating everything. Um, and then from being in lockdown, I don't know, I remember having this epiphany moment. It was kind of like a lightning bolt, and I was like, it just came to me. And then I was like, I need to do this. And I'd worked with my lovely Hannah, who does the beautiful illustrations. We'd worked with each other where we did a project years and years ago. And I popped her a message just with this idea. And I thought, it's really far out, doing an Oracle deck, such a big deal, like big process. And she's really busy. And I thought, it's probably not going to happen, but I'm just going to put it out there. And she was like, hell yeah. And then it just kind of went from then. And then it was a 5-year journey together. And honestly, I would say that creating that deck, it was like healing me through writing it. It was like this whole thing of, it honestly feels like my baby. Because it was like I was writing it, but it was really reciprocal in the sense of I've really felt like doing it really was healing as well for me. And yeah, it was so lovely to work with Hannah, because we worked super well together. Like it was just, there was no force. It just kind of really just evolved naturally over time. And obviously, it was such a many years of doing this deck, but it kind of evolved. So it's one of those things where as it went, then I would go back, and obviously I'd grown so much between then, and then it'd be like, no, I need to change it. So at one point I was there like, I don't think I'm ever gonna finish. Like I just keep wanting to go back and change and change. But eventually, we got to that place, and got there in the end. But yeah, I'd say that yeah, it was from then.
Beautiful. The art is stunning. Your
Oh,
words are poetic. It's a beautiful marriage. So, you know, well done and congratulations on the deck. It's
thank you.
absolutely magnificent. So, yeah, and I love that you explained it is a 5-year journey because it really is like going on this kind of spiritual odyssey and quest. I have the same kind
Mhm.
of telepathic connection with the artists that I work with. And I think it's just so interesting that it takes on a life of its own.
Yeah.
And you kind of, I find whatever I'm working on, you kind of, it's almost like you go through that, you know, that journey of whatever you're working on. So do you find
Mhm.
that? Do you find that it's kind of
Yeah.
like, you
It's like
know,
what you're going through reflects in there, or even like what you're learning, what you're embodying, you kind of channel that in. And then I think it's really lovely because it's like whatever you're healing through or learning, then it's like, then you can give that out to the world. And if anyone connects with it, do you know what I mean? It's kind of what you're going through,
I do
portals.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting. Um, so as a poet, and I love poetry, I write poetry myself.
Oh, stunning.
Yeah, as a poet, what emotions, themes, or experiences kind of move you to write? And how does poetry kind of, you know, intertwine with the healing work that you offer as
Mm.
well? Because I know you do incredible transformative healing work too, don't you, Vanessa?
Oh, yes, yes. Thank you for that question. Honestly, poetry is a big part of my life. Kind of like what I said earlier, is I really feel things and see things in metaphor. So I just revel in metaphor. Like, oh, I just love it so much. And I feel poetry for me is a way, because I think a lot in metaphor and I feel like I have all these deep thoughts and concepts. It's a way for me to channel it in a way that can be indirect, but also really far out at the same time, and it really allows me to play and play with different analogies, play with different metaphors, and really think outside the box, because that's where I love teetering on the edge of getting outside the box. And um yeah, metaphor is kind of everything for me. I love it, and I'd say there's a few themes that I really mostly find connect, like I really feel inspired by. I say definitely nature. Like nature really inspires my poems and the way I think and the way I connect with myself and the world. And also, I think just thinking outside the box, I could have a far out philosophical idea, and then I kind of contemplate on it, and then I don't know, I find metaphors an easier way for me to explain it, if that
Yeah,
makes sense, or through poetry.
makes perfect
It's
sense to me. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I'd say like those what inspires me most, and
Your
then
beautiful
I also
healing
say,
work. Tell us a
yeah.
little bit about your gorgeous healing work.
Oh yeah, so I'm a trained counselor, and I kind of da well, I don't know if you're into human design, but I'm
Um,
a
my daughter
manifesting.
is. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
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 I'm a
yeah.
manifesting generator, so we do well with
Yes.
variety and not being fixed to one thing. And when I was learning all this stuff about myself, and I really, yeah, so with my work, I kind of do everything. So I do my yoga, I have my coaching clients and my counseling clients, and my writing and my massage and my Reiki. So I kind of use all these different tools, and they all blend nicely together. So a lot of my students come to me for the massage and Reiki, but then it's lovely because then it's the body isn't just, the physical body. When I go in, I really get into the energy body. So then that brought me to Reiki and really deepening there. And then with the yoga is the physical side, and then with the mental side is when I can really dive into someone's internal world. So like together, it's really nice because it's mind, body, spirit
Yes.
connection where I can, some of my clients even come to me for all three. So it's really nice. So they find me one direction, and then it's then move to another direction through it. So it's like I can really tap into all these things that have kind of helped me. Yoga was a doorway for me, really going into my internal world with that, um, deep interpersonal work with my mind. So it's like now I want to help other people with theirs. And then even with the massage and Reiki, um, that I was actually working at a spa for 5 years. I was working on their desk, and then I finally came to do body work. And then I was like, wow, it just kind of felt like second nature.
Body
Like I
work's incredible. Reiki, I'm a Reiki master teacher. Reiki is
Oh,
amazing.
amazing.
Massage, like, and I can see that you do that really beautiful deep body work. And with everything you do too, like, with your counseling and, even, your yoga, it's so mind, body, spirit. It's so
Yeah.
multidimensional. And of course that deepens everything you do. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I find they really connect well together. And then it means I'm, not fixed on one thing. It's like I can, my days are always varieties, then I know where my classes are, I know where my clients are, but it feeds every part of me. Like that part feeds the bit that I love to teach, but I'm not doing it so much where I end up, you know, not wanting to do my own practice. It's like it's just the amount of, so it's like it just feeds that part of me then, so it's making my life created around all the things that I love and being able to serve in that way. Yeah. So it's
Really,
really
really beautiful.
special
Love
for
it.
me.
Yeah. And I noticed that you seem to like the beach and the sand between your toes, and I think you ride a motorbike and yeah, and you do your yoga and you do all this incredible healing work, and you're an author and very multifaceted, Vanessa. So exciting. Such a wonderful way to live. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for saying that. And yeah, I just see life as a play, and we shouldn't, one of my big messages is not to be confined into a box or a role or a label. It's like, no, we aren't just labels. We're all different intersections of our life that come together, and which part of us, it doesn't have to make sense. If somebody, just because somebody's quote unquote spiritual, doesn't mean they can't listen to heavy music or like some sort of wild sport, or something, or the other way around. Like someone can be a bodybuilder and love flowers. Like we can blend the edges of whatever society has
Oh, I
told
love
us
that so
is
much.
wrong
Yeah.
or right. And it's like, no, what feeds you and what lights you up, and do that. It's like, everyone is here having this human experience. Labels is just, it makes everything so rigid and so closed in the sense of what we can do, and but that doesn't fit the paradigm of what society says we need to be. But it's like, no, just live and explore. And I feel like we're always unfolding and meeting parts of ourselves all the time. We always have in our life, I feel like we have always new parts of ourselves yet to meet in the future,
Oh,
that
yes.
different
Yeah.
things we're going to unlock, and we're going to find out, wow, I didn't even know this part of me existed. And it's just about diving into what lights you up without restrictions, without labels and all of that, because that's where I feel like people are going to hold back, or so just exploring yourself and letting yourself, yeah,
You're
follow
speaking
your.
my language. Love it. Yeah. Why not? Why not? Why, these rigid stereotypes where it's like, oh, you couldn't possibly do that if you're doing that. Well, why?
Mm.
You know,
Why? Yeah.
do what
Yeah, or
makes
you
your
can't
heart
wear that,
sing.
you can't
Yeah.
do that because you're not that kind of person. It's like, no, just
What?
yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so if someone's feeling lost or disconnected, what practices or mindset shifts do you recommend to kind of help them find their way back to themselves, to find their way back to their own heart, my love? Yeah.
Mhm. Um, I would say, first of all, definitely, I would say just get out in nature and spend time a lot in solitude. I think sometimes people feel alone, but I think it's about realizing that everything's connected, and you can feel alone, but you're not lonely, It's about that. And I feel like when you're in nature, I feel like it always makes you feel like you aren't alone, And I think a really nice practice is find a nice spot in nature, whether it's by a lovely tree that you found in the middle of the woods, and kind of get to know that area, Go back the same time every day and go throughout the year or the seasons, and really start to pay attention to the different nature that's around. Maybe journal and see like, oh, there's that going on over there. Maybe it's a rabbit hole and see what's going on, or and really spend time there and you know, see it as the seasons change and get to know this place and, you know, maybe speak to the tree if you want to, or really become familiar. And then I think you kind of can learn different things about yourself and about nature when you can really start to connect in with your that part, but in solitude as well. But I think journaling as well is a really good tool. And I
Yes.
really like one of my uh, everyday practices is just I have one diary that's just it's not one that I keep neat. It's just one where I write a page and it's just stream of consciousness, blah blah blah, and it helps me just unravel the mind, unravel any knots that are in the mind, get everything out, and it just like fresh slate of the day. Everything's out. It doesn't have to make sense, but sometimes, you know, I'm writing poetry and I'm like, okay, I got to write this bit down. But it might just be sometimes mind dump of everything. I find that's a lovely practice just to release the mind. But
I
then I
do
also
that. I do that
find,
too. I
yeah,
love it. Yeah.
yeah. I also find as well that just finding what works for you, like I think it's great to outsource, you know, get inspired by what someone's doing, you know, getting YouTube inspiration or from people you admire, but I also find what works for you. You know, sometimes what works for somebody might not work for somebody else, and I find it's just really feeling into what works for you as a person, and not being so rigid with yourself, but also being disciplined. I feel like, you know, with meditation or these writing, it is help if you are a little bit disciplined with your practice, or, you know, showing up to that place in nature. But it comes from a place of joy, not coming from a place of you have to do it, but because it ends up becoming because you want to do it, because you know how good it makes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Mhm.
a fabulous answer. Exactly. I mean, journaling, yeah, and connecting to nature and finding that beautiful sacred spot in nature where you can return to, and just finding what really, really works for you. That was such a great answer. So when you think about the impact of your work, what message or kind of legacy do you hope to leave behind?
Mm. I really hope that, you know, with my work, I always thought like even if it touched what one person, that would, or like, you know, connect, that would be enough for me. And I think the message would be that I would want to leave is just kind of, even if it just unlocks something within you to kind of realize that interconnected with the planet, with nature. Um, just so you can explore that for yourself, or explore yourself in different ways, have that permission slip to not just be one thing, or allow yourself to play with your edges. And I think mostly would be to, like it did for me, open your heart to see the interconnected of everything, because that really opened and like it was like the veil had lifted over my eyes. I was like, wow, seeing the world in a whole it's like, of course it is, like, of course it's just like a re-remembering. And it's like if I could gift that from me to anyone, or even the same thing with yoga, you know, if somebody comes to my class or sees something that connects or hears something that connects and wants to practice yoga and opens their heart in that way, or just finding a way through my work, whatever medium, a way that breaks them open to re-remembering, yeah, the magic of life and the miracle and the interconnected of everything. Because then it makes you feel that you aren't alone. When you get that feeling, it's like you're just continually hugged by the earth, in her presence.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a beautiful love legacy to really fully understand that you're never really alone, that you're interconnected, that that beautiful kind of opening, that awakening, that heart opening, so
Yeah.
gorgeous. Love that so, so much. Now, have you got your gorgeous deck there?
Yes, I do.
Your Golden Keys of Gaia? Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Beautiful.
that's like with the name as well, you know, everything we're saying unlocking, it's like the different keys that nature gifts us, unlocking. It's like another doorway. It's like
Ah, yes,
so
of
that's where
course.
the name comes from, is doorway keeps unlocking until you just completely just surrender and poof, open to the magic. Yeah.
Ah, those beautiful sacred keys. What a
Mm.
wonderful name. So appropriate for that stunning deck because it's so rooted in nature and so gorgeous. So, what I'd like you to do, my love, if you're feeling open to it, is to pull a card for our
Ooh,
audience and
I'd love to.
give your intuitive, poetic, gorgeous interpretation.
I'd love.
And that would be lovely.
Got a candle here. My candle over. I'm just asking what message for this collective listening in this space, what message we all need to hear in this moment. Just asking for my guides, just to connect me with the right message for everyone in this space listening. Ooh, no. So I pulled the card patterns.
Beautiful.
Card says, look at the patterns in your life and alter your perspective to see the world in a different light. Be willing to change or modify your behavior. So this is all about seeing the patterns. Maybe the deck, the car. So in the booklet, so it's all color coded.
Gorgeous book.
I won't read all of it because it does go quite deep.
I noticed that your writing is very deep. That's one of the things I like about it, actually. And I
Thank.
love don't Blue Angel just do a magnificent job. Just
Oh,
the
wow. I'm
yeah.
just so blown over by their, yeah, even like the inside of the box is so beautiful how they've done it.
Oh, love that.
Yeah. Just how, yeah, with the colors. And it was what we envisioned, so it's just perfect. Yeah. Um, but I can read you maybe the first few sentences and I can, if we have
That'd be
time.
lovely, Vanessa. Yeah.
So, the card wisdom, I'll just read a few sentences and then maybe just a little bit from the invitation. So the word art is the heart of the word earth. So I'll just quickly pause there. I'll read that again. The word art is in the heart of the word earth. So if you spell art, earth, there's art in the center, E, and then A-R-T,
Yes.
H. Um, Mother Nature's creation is nothing short of a sublime masterpiece. She painted our world with such vibrancy and saturated all in patterns that play off each other, some linear, some circular, and some arbitrary, or a combination of all three. Occasionally they're obvious and sometimes they require little creative exploration to locate, with only little effort. From the extraordinary tessellations of within a hexagonal honeycomb to the fascinating geometry of seashells, snowflakes, and hallucinatory head of a Romanesco broccoli, the wonders of nature offer a different perspective on the world. However, amid our fast-paced, materialistic lifestyles, we overlook these delicate complexities. I'll stop there, otherwise it will close the book.
That
But there's a
is
little
beautiful.
what we
Yes.
were
Yeah.
talking about earlier, how, not seeing it as a commodity and really seeing the divine complexity and mathematics and even, the geometry of all nature. That's kind of a little bit about the patterns, but then the invitation is to take a step back and look at the bigger picture of your life and notice the patterns, particularly how you relate to everything in your world and what drives you to attract the sort of people, the experiences that you do, and reflect on the recurring themes, the dynamics and triggers in your interactions, and write down specific examples that come to mind. So this type of self-reflection provides really valuable insight. Yeah, and the main message of this card as well, because there is a little bit more here, but it's about really noticing your patterns and really sitting with it and, kind of breaking the cycle. When we can write it down, really see it from a bigger perspective, we're like, whoa, hey, I've had this sort of relationship 4 times now, and nothing's changed. And it's kind of, whoa, bringing yourself out, really seeing the pattern and being like, okay, something needs to change here. Otherwise, I'm just going to recycle that toxic pattern, or I'm still doing that thing that I haven't, I need to break the cycle. So this card here is really about just noticing your patterns, and really noticing where you need to break the pattern. And
Oh,
then
I love
also
that.
allowing yourself to really notice the intricate patterns around you in nature as well, and really allow yourself to slow down and be like, whoa, let me just not just rush off to work. Let me just take a minute to just soak it all in. Let me look deeper at this snail that's crossing my path. Let me look at its shapes. Let me look at the patterns, and really not just battering an eye to it, and really just yeah, kind of um, relishing in it and seeing the beauty, and kind of opening with childlike eyes to it all again.
Such a great reading. I
Mhm.
love, really noticing the patterns, the magnificent mathematical, sacred geometry, just the magic in
Mm.
in nature. But then also looking at the patterns in your own life, and, having that super self-awareness in around, do you want to
Mm.
keep repeating that pattern? Do you want to consciously create a new pattern?
Yeah.
That's a really powerful card. And I love the way
Yeah.
you kind of like, I can see what you're doing there now. You're mirroring our beautiful patterns in nature,
Mm.
with, our own journey. But
That's
also, yeah, get super still, like really take a breath, see the magic in the patterns. I love that so much. All those beautiful synchronicities and magical moments of just observation where you're not rushing to work. You're taking a
Mm.
moment to breathe and get still and notice just the magnificence of life itself. So gorgeous. Thank you for sharing. I
Thank
thought,
you.
would you like a card from one of my decks? Because I've
I
got,
would I would absolutely
oh,
love.
beautiful. Okay, so my latest deck is the Moon Temple Oracle deck.
So proud of you. It's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And well, I was going to say, you're not going to believe this, but of course you'd believe this because it's all meant to be.
Right up my street.
Right. Yeah. The first card that was sitting, I didn't even shuffle the cards because I just trusted in spirit the right card would be at the top of the deck. And what I got for you is the beautiful ancient Hawaiian goddess Hina,
Love it.
um, uh, the ancient Hawaiian goddess of the moon.
Yeah.
And she's so beautiful. She's sitting at the top of a waterfall. She's
Stunning.
sitting on a crescent moon. She's in her beautiful kind of warrior pose.
Mhm.
She's got a crown of ferns and very, very connected to the ferns. And it's really quite magical. It's a flowing waterfall. There's stars, and the word is journey. It's the waxing moon, which is all about, the growth journey.
Mhm.
And it's so interesting because it was so wonderful to listen to your journey and, journey creating Golden Keys of Gaia, your healing journey, your journey to Hawaii. You can't make this stuff up, right?
There
So
you go.
love, love, love that.
Here for
And
it.
yeah, and I'm going to read from the book, but like you, I'm not going to read the whole thing because, you and we love our words, don't we? So 24 journey. I am a light warrior of love, and that's you, my love. And the moonlit code words are breakout, explore, arise.
Ooh.
Ride the wave of victory, an upsurge of good fortune is streaming in for you. Bring forth your inner warrior of courage and self-belief. Be a little daring. Unleash your free-spirited rebel to lunge forward fearlessly and dive headfirst into the unknown. The moon will light your way to great heights. And just turning the page,
Mm.
the spell chant is Aloha. In the heartbeat of Hina, we are all lovers. In the heartbeat of Hina, We are all one love. I ride Hina's wave of love with immense gratitude in my heart. Aloha. Yay!
Oh my gosh, that's so stunning. Thank you for sharing that. It's so beautiful. Wow.
That's for you and that's for the collective. Can you just hold up your card again for us? Have you
Yes,
still got it there?
yes, I have.
Beautiful. I just want everyone to notice the artwork. It's absolutely gorgeous. The words are magic, very heart opening, but the art and the words married together so beautifully. Thank you so much for coming on Ask the Oracle today.
So much. It's been such a privilege and such an honor. So thank you for having me.
I loved having you here. We've got a
Mm.
time zone because Vanessa's in the UK and I'm in Australia. So we're on, different times of the day. So I so appreciate you coming on Ask the Oracle. It's been an absolute delight. You are so wonderful. And I know our listeners are going to get a lot from this podcast interview today. So thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Thank you, lovely.
Beautiful. Thank you.